Hi, so we're going to talk about making cutting Windows boot time. So Windows has this really great feature now that is essentially, is a way to take a look at Windows start times. So there's a lot of different ways to get to it. We could do Control Delete and go to Task Manager. Okay, and essentially what we can do is we can go over in Task Manager. We can go to Startup. Okay. So on startup, it has everything that's going to start. Okay, now, so we go ahead, we can do startup impact here, and it'll tell you the publisher, right? So a lot of times this stuff is not necessary, right? So let's take a look at what it is. So almost everybody has a lot of this stuff installed. So like when you install Adobe Acrobat Reader, that probably comes with your computer, that installs something that starts at startup. We're going to disable that, okay? Adobe Startup Utility, we're going to disable that. Common software, now this in particular I had to go look at. This is for some application I started. We're going to go ahead and disable that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and disable this. Basically everything from Adobe I'm going to disable on startup. It just doesn't need to launch. Okay, disable this one. QuickTime, definitely disable anything you see from Apple on a Windows computer. You can just go for startup, just go ahead and disable it. Okay. Now this is a little bit different. This Synaptics Touchpad, a lot of people will have this. You don't want to disable that. That's your pointer on your laptop, and then we're going to go ahead and disable that. So a lot of the stuff we can disable. Basically, we left one thing open, and to be honest with you, it's only because I don't know what this is. Now, how would I find out what this is? So we got VM333. So, hey, I want to go find out what that is, right? So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and Google it, okay? So now there are kind of people online that are going to ask what this is. Okay, so here it is right there. It's a process known as VM333, belongs to software or Lenovo Easy Camera. Okay, so we want to go ahead and just keep that, okay? It's part of the laptop that I'm using. Basically, if something comes from the laptop manufacturer, you want to kind of let it go unless you're sure of it. That's like the Synaptics Touchpad here. Okay, so there's our startup, and boom, I'm done, right? Wrong. So, so those are just apps that start up. Okay, there's a couple other places where things can get started that you're not really aware of. All right, so the other place we can go is we can actually go on the Start menu. Oops. To the Start menu, and if you go down to the Start menu, you can actually have a startup folder right here, which we don't have in this case. So to get to that folder for the startup menus, it's easier to go through the Run menu. Okay, so we're going to go down to the Start menu. We're just going to right click on it and click Run. Okay. And now to do this, the user login as you do shell : startup. Okay, and that's going to open up this folder with a very long name right here. Okay, it's empty in this case, so my user startup folder is empty. Now we can also do that for all users. Okay, it's the same shell menu. Do the drop down. Whoops, didn't keep it. Shell : and then we're going to do common startup. Okay, so this is going to be for all users, right? Oops. That's interesting. Okay. Makes me so crazy. Okay, so basically we clicked Run. Let's do that again because I did it like 6 times. Okay, so it's shell : common. Okay, there's no space between the colon after shell and common, and then there's a space, and then it's start up. Okay, so it's shell : common. Okay, no space, startup, and then we're going to click OK. Okay, so now we get to the startup menu. So there's nothing here in this case for our system. Okay, but you would want to check there if you want to make sure things aren't starting up on their own. All right, so we've done 2 places, right? So we did the shell : startup, shell : common startup to do the 2 startup things. We also went to Task Manager. You can also right click on the bottom bar and go to Task Manager here. We did a Control Delete earlier. Go to Task Manager. You can enable, disable. The other place we can go is to right click and go to run again and type in msconfig. Okay, this is kind of the old school way to do it, msconfig. Okay, and essentially this utility has been around, I think, since Windows NT basically. So, or at least that's when I became aware of it. So, okay, so we go general boot services. Okay, services are basically just pieces of software that the system runs that are kind of invisible to you. All right, and the problem is that services are just another pieces of software that just kind of categorized differently inside of the operating system. But people that produce software are perfectly willing to put them on your computer. Okay, so we're going to click on the Services tab. We're going to go hide all Microsoft services, and then we get into some of the things. Now, we installed Chrome on this computer. Okay, so notice that Google has put an update service that runs all the time. Okay, whenever you start your computer, we're going to uncheck that. Okay, the uncheck means that we're not going to start it automatically. All right, the Dragon service we're going to stop. Oops. We're going to go ahead down here. We're going to do Adobe. We don't let them run anything. VMware, I do actually want them to run stuff. I need them to run things on my computer. Okay, then we're going to go to Startup, and they've taken the Startup tab off here. That's the thing we went and did in Task Manager. Okay, and finally, so we just wanted to take a look at the services. We're going to go ahead and click OK, and we're going to exit without restarting because that's basically when we restart, that's when everything changes. Let's go to the we're almost finished here. Let's go to Run. Okay, and we're actually going to go to we're not going to go to Scheduler. We're going to, whoops, and we're going to go to Schedule Tasks right here. Okay, now Schedule Tasks. The thing with Schedule Tasks is software can write in tasks to your computer. Now this is the thing that if you want your computer to shut down at a certain time of the day, or do something on a daily basis. This is the Windows version of the Linux cron, right? So, so basically the task library, you can actually go in here and look at every task. So lo and behold, okay, every single day Adobe runs an updater. Well, I don't want them to run an updater. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and disable that. Google also runs 2 things every single day to update. And then basically I have a VPN, that's private internet access, that runs whenever I log into the computer. Okay, and I actually do want that to be in there. Okay, so this task scheduler is kind of a way that software essentially runs things on your computer without really asking you if you want it to do that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close that. And the final thing that we're going to take a look at is actually services. Now, we're not going to do anything in there right now, but you should be aware of them just to round out our what things start on your computer. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do search. Right-click search, and we're going to do services. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and click enter. Okay, and basically the services come up. Okay, so these services are essentially a lot of them are required to run your computer, but some of them aren't. Okay, so in fact, this is where in the past a lot of problems have occurred because particular services are installed or whatever, and what you want to do if you want to start to take these off, you want to go ahead and sort by startup type. These are automatically running services, so these start at system startup automatically. Okay, automatically delayed is if they run a little bit after you start up. So you just want to go ahead and research those, and you can take them out as you see fit. Okay, so that is how we disable startup items and get our computer to boot faster.